If you are over 70 and have been striving to keep your internal numbers at that traditionally perfect mark, there is something very important we should discuss. Recent observations following thousands of seniors for several years have shown a pattern that might surprise you. Those maintaining those strictly low numbers often experienced more challenges with their daily balance and overall vitality than those with slightly higher, more moderate levels. In this video, I am going to show you the exact optimal internal range associated with maintaining your natural vitality for as long as possible, why the standard target might be counterproductive after 75, and the one simple test you can do at home tonight that could prevent a serious moment of unsteadiness. This information could genuinely support your physical freedom or the well-being of someone you care about deeply. Before we go further, I would love to connect with you. Please share your age in the comments. Just your age, nothing else. I want to see who is watching, because the insights I am about to share apply differently depending on whether you are 65, 75, or 85. And if you have ever felt a split second of lightheadedness when standing up from a comfortable chair or getting out of bed, add that observation to your comment as well. This is critical feedback for our community, and you will understand exactly why in just a few minutes. Let us look at what happens in everyday situations right now. Imagine a 78-year-old walking into an office for a regular checkup. The internal pressure numbers read 145/86. A well-meaning professional looks at the generic guidelines on the computer screen, notices a target of less than 130, and immediately suggests a daily routine to lower it. One option gets introduced, then perhaps another. Over the next 6 months, those numbers come down beautifully to 124/78. Everyone is pleased, and it looks like a total success story on paper. But here is what standard guidelines often overlook. That same 78-year-old stands up to get a glass of water at night, and their internal pressure drops dramatically within seconds. The mind suddenly does not receive a steady, robust flow of vital energy. The room briefly spins. They reach out for balance, but miss. Suddenly, we are no longer discussing neat numbers on a chart. We are talking about a major physical setback, unexpected structural discomfort, weeks of recovery, and a chain of complications that too often leads to a loss of personal independence. The latest data from respected research journals should have made major headlines, but many are still unaware of it. Most individuals certainly have not heard about it, and that gap between what the latest observations show and what happens in daily practice is heavily impacting the wellness of many seniors. Here is the part that might sound completely counterintuitive, and I need you to stay with me because this is where our entire perspective shifts. For decades, the message has been incredibly simple. Lower internal pressure always leads to better health outcomes. For individuals in their 40s and 50s, that is largely true. Keeping those numbers well managed in midlife supports your long-term vascular health beautifully. The evidence there is rock solid. However, something fundamental changes as our bodies mature past 75. Recent tracking shows that seniors with a top internal number between 130 and 145 actually maintain their vitality much better than those forced below 120. They experience fewer sudden slips, fewer structural challenges, fewer visits to recovery centers, and better cognitive clarity. On the other hand, the group that achieved that textbook definition of perfection often reported higher rates of daily unsteadiness, temporary lightheadedness, unnecessary strain on their internal filtration systems, and overall challenges to their natural lifespan. If you value understanding the actual reason behind your body's signals, instead of just being told what to do, this explanation is going to give you a completely new framework for your golden years. Your mature system at 75 is not just an older version of your body at 45. It is fundamentally different. And that changes exactly what these internal numbers mean for your long-term harmony. If you were wondering why your numbers shouldn't be exactly the same as they were in your 40s, let me explain how our beautiful internal system naturally adapts. Over the decades, the pathways that carry your vital energy naturally become a bit less flexible. At the same time, The tiny internal sensors that help you adjust when you stand up or change positions take just a fraction of a second longer to react. Furthermore, your body processes any daily supports or routines much slower than it used to. When we try to force this mature, wise system to maintain the exact same internal pressure as a much younger body, we often inadvertently deprive our mind and internal organs of the steady, robust flow they need to keep us stable, energized, and clear-headed. Let us look closely at what the latest multi-year reviews discovered, because the specific details matter to your daily choices. A large-scale analysis followed over 15,000 adults over the age of 75 for an average of 5 years. For an average of 5 years, these were not perfectly hand-picked, exceptionally robust seniors. They were real-world individuals navigating various daily challenges, including sugar imbalances, past vascular events, and varying levels of physical frailty. Researchers tracked their average internal numbers and watched their progress carefully over those 5 years, dividing them into separate groups. One group kept their top number below 120. Others stayed between 120 and 130. Some maintained a range between 130 and 140, while the remaining groups were higher. Here is what the observations revealed. The highest level of ongoing vitality and comfort was found in the group maintaining a moderate top number, between 130 and 140, not below 120. Not the textbook perfect mark, but the balanced middle ground. Those forced below 120 faced a 28% higher rate of serious unsteadiness that required intensive care. They also showed clear signs of internal filtration strain, meaning their systems simply could not cleanse the body efficiently under such low pressure. Their overall vitality markers were 14% lower than those in the moderate range. Of course, numbers consistently remaining above 150 presented their own challenges, as you would expect, creating extra tension within the pathways. But the true surprise for many was that forcing the numbers too low was just as disruptive as letting them rise too high. The genuine sweet spot, the range associated with the longest periods of independent living and the highest quality of life, is naturally higher than conventional standards suggest. Imagine a similar scenario playing out in real life. You are 76 years old, and during a routine check, your numbers show 142/84. A standard guideline approach might suggest that you need to push that top number closer to 120, and a new daily option is introduced. 2 months later, you reach 128, but it is suggested to add another layer of support to get it even lower. Soon, you hit 122. On paper, it looks flawless. At first, you feel fine, but then you begin to notice subtle changes. When you stand up quickly from your favorite armchair to answer the telephone, you feel a momentary wave of fogginess. When you rise from the dinner table, there is a split second where the room seems to tilt slightly. It is easy to assume this is just a natural part of turning 76, and that the body is just moving a bit slower. But what is actually happening behind the scenes is that your internal pressure, which looks perfectly fine while you are sitting completely still in an office, drops drastically the moment you become vertical. It might go from a beautiful sitting mark down to an insufficient standing pressure within a heartbeat. Your mind is experiencing repeated moments of inadequate flow, placing you at a high risk for a sudden slip. Yet no one is checking for this because your resting numbers look textbook perfect. This exact situation occurs thousands of times every single day, and it is entirely preventable if we recognize that internal goals must be individualized based on our years and functional strength, rather than applied as a rigid rule for everyone. Fortunately, there is a simple 3-minute internal stability routine you can try at home to identify whether your current daily routine is placing your balance at risk. Let me teach you how to perform this check tonight, because this simple tool can completely safeguard your physical freedom. All you need is a standard home monitor, which is easily accessible. Here is the simple protocol. First, rest comfortably lying down on your bed or couch for about 5 minutes. Just let your body completely relax. After those 5 minutes, check your internal numbers while still resting and note them down carefully. Next, stand up and immediately check those numbers again. Do not wait. check it right away as you stand. Write down those vertical numbers and compare the two sets. If your top number drops by 20 points or more, or if your bottom number drops by 10 points or more when you stand, your body is sending a clear signal. It means your internal flow is struggling to adjust to gravity, which is often the hidden reason behind moments of unsteadiness or feeling lightheaded. This is a clear indicator that your daily supports may be a bit too strong, or that your target numbers might be too low for your unique physical structure. Even if your resting numbers look absolutely ideal by traditional standards, a significant drop upon standing means your balance needs extra consideration. Think about what this means in your daily life. Your resting numbers might look great on your kitchen log, but if they drop significantly the moment you stand, your mind is operating on insufficient pressure during your active hours. This is the exact stability check that should be reviewed regularly if you are over 70 and utilizing daily supports. If it is not being done routinely, you can easily gather this information yourself and share the pattern during your next conversation. So, what should your internal pressure actually look like? Let us talk about those specific numbers and the optimal internal ranges that recent data suggests are best for different stages of our journey. Remember, these are thoughtful landmarks, not absolute, rigid laws. Your personal goals should always be determined through an open dialogue that considers your entire physical story. For adults between 65 and 74 who are generally active and enjoying their daily routines with no major physical setbacks, a top number range of 130 to 140 is highly reasonable. This provides great long-term protection while ensuring every organ receives a steady, nourishing flow. For adults between 75 and 84 who are managing well, the current evidence strongly supports a top range of 135 to 145. Notice that this is naturally higher than the younger group, gracefully accounting for increased pathway stiffness and a more relaxed sensor response. For those over 85, or for individuals facing notable frailty, regardless of age, a top range of 140 to 150 is often the most appropriate choice. At this beautiful stage of life, preserving your daily balance, preventing sudden slips, and maintaining an independent quality of life takes total priority over aggressively forcing numbers downward. Now, what about that bottom number? For mature adults, this lower marker should generally stay above 65, ideally sitting between 70 and 85. A very low bottom number can reduce the gentle flow your system relies on during its brief moments of rest between beats. If your bottom number consistently falls below 60, it is a very valuable topic to bring up for discussion, even if your top number looks completely stable. Consider how much our individual stories matter. Imagine two different individuals who are both 81 years old, showing the exact same numbers of 100 equals and 58 over 88. Their daily lives, however, look completely different. The first individual lives independently, but manages a few ongoing challenges, such as mild structural joint discomfort and tired internal filters. For this person, introducing multiple heavy options to force that number below 130 carries substantial risks. It could lower their standing pressure too much, cause frequent dizziness, and increase the likelihood of a slip, which would be incredibly disruptive to their daily life. A much wiser approach would focus on gentle habit adjustments first, and if support is needed, utilizing a very modest amount with careful tracking, comfortably accepting a moderate top number of 140 to 145 instead of pushing aggressively. Now look at the second 81-year-old. They are incredibly active, enjoying a round of golf twice a week with no significant physical complaints. Their identical numbers of 158 over 88 might suggest some mild attention is warranted, but certainly not an aggressive intervention. Simple, natural shifts might easily bring their numbers into a comfortable zone of 145 without the need for complex routines at all. Same numbers, completely different individuals, completely different paths. This is the essence of honoring the whole person, not just a number on a screen. To help you navigate your future choices with total confidence, let us review specific, concrete steps you can implement starting tonight. First, If you are over 70 and managing your pressure, ensure you have a reliable home monitor. Check your numbers at the same time each day for 2 weeks, once in the morning and once in the evening, keeping a simple written journal. This gives you an accurate, true average and helps you spot natural patterns. Second, perform the internal stability routine we outlined. Note down your resting numbers. Stand up, check immediately, and see if there is a significant shift. Third, evaluate your daily feelings with absolute honesty. Are you experiencing moments of lightheadedness when rising? Do you notice unexplained fatigue or a feeling of cloudiness in your thoughts? These might be clear indicators that your pressure is being held a bit too low, even if the monitor shows a textbook number. Fourth, dedicate your next appointment specifically to discussing your personal targets. Instead of accepting a blanket statement about generic goals, ask what specific range is right for your age, your lifestyle, and your physical strength. Bring your 2-week journal and your stability notes to support the conversation. Fifth, if you are experiencing side effects or feeling less than vibrant, please speak up. Many assume that feeling slightly dizzy or fatigued is just an unavoidable part of getting older. But very often, daily routines can be gently modified, amounts can be adjusted, or goals can be reframed to uplift your daily quality of life, while keeping your system beautifully protected. Here is the deep wisdom that is rarely discussed fully. Internal targets should never be universal. A 45-year-old and an 85-year-old belong to entirely different chapters of life and should not be measured by the exact same yardstick. For our mature years, a moderate range is where we truly thrive, keeping our physical freedom intact. You have now learned how to check your internal stability at home, the natural reasons why our systems adapt over time, and most importantly, you now have the clear language to participate actively in your own care. You are an informed partner in your wellness journey, and that is incredibly empowering. If this perspective has brought you clarity and given you the confidence to advocate for your daily comfort, please consider subscribing to the channel. We share practical, research-backed insights every single week to support you in the years that matter most. Share this conversation with friends or family members over 65 who would love to discover these gentle insights. In our next video, we will explore 3 natural elements that beautifully support your internal balance, alongside 2 highly publicized options that are simply not worth your resources. You will definitely want to stay tuned for that discussion. Take wonderful care of your internal harmony, honor your body's wisdom, and I look forward to our next talk.